Alright, this video I'm gonna answer what's the difference between a Sifu, a Shisu, and what does mystic mean in my art. So Sifu means, in Chinese, it means the integration between a father and a teacher, and there are a lot of people that are Sifus for a lot of different martial arts that follow that Chinese martial art way. That's why they use the term Sifu. Sifu would be, similar to some of these other, titles such as sensei that they might use in the Japanese martial arts. But Chinese, they use the word Sifu. And Sifu is the integration of the word father and teacher. So it's not the same thing as your school teacher where you're just a teacher and a student. There's a close relationship between a Sifu and a disciple. It's similar to, it's a serious initiation into the martial arts, similar to a father adopting a child. That's how serious it is. The child becomes a disciple, the father becomes the Sifu. And that's one of the major differences in the traditional, the way that the Chinese martial arts, where they share their martial art knowledge, is that it's a serious thing. Where here in the West, you don't find that often. It's always this business transaction type thing where, okay, you're my instructor and I'm paying you money and I'm your client and type thing, where this not like that. To have a martial art family, to be a Sifu, it's a serious thing. It's like it is becoming a part of a family, and that's what Sifu is. And to people that really, the schools that really live up to it here in the West, it's not going to be common. Where what is common is you have these gyms, these big name gyms, and you have like personal trainers and clients, where it's just typically it's just a business type of relationship. But here, even in school, you don't have that type of Sifu type of relationship. It's just teacher student. You come in here, I teach you a few things, and then you're on with your way and I'm on with mine. That's not how it's supposed to be. A movie that might, show what kind of a closer relationship is maybe that movie Freedom Writers, of where you have that teacher that inspired these many students that really were affected by her deeply, and then they keep in close contact for many years to come. That's kind of what a Sifu would be, or somebody that goes deep into you, not just a business type of relationship. So that's what a Sifu is. Alright, and in order to be a Sifu, it'd be at a high level of teaching for a certain art. So say there's a lot of Sifus for Wing Chun Kung Fu, a lot of, but there's the developer, the creator of Wing Chun Kung Fu, and then there's a bunch of Sifus, high-level teachers who help share that art. Okay, a lot of Sifus for a lot of different arts out there, and that's what I'm training people to become for my art, are Sifus of my art. But for me, because I created this art and I'm promoting my own art that I created, that I call FREDDIE'S Modern Kung Fu, I'm not a Sifu. The next title for me, specifically, I'm the Shisu. The Shisu is like the founder of the art. So Bruce Lee would be the Shisu to Jeet Kune Do. There can't be another Shisu. He's the only Shisu. He's the only founder. Now, he didn't authorize or certify anybody to be a Sifu for his art. So it was created by Bruce, and then it died with him as well. Now, the creator of Wing Chun is the Shisu. So if her name is Wing Chun, then Wing Chun is the Shisu of Wing Chun Kung Fu. And then she may certify people to be Sifus or teachers of her art. So that's how it works. And if you compare it to the business type of entities. You have somebody who may be the owner, the creator of Microsoft, would be like Bill Gates. So he would be considered like the Shisu in the martial arts, for example. He's the creator, the founder of Microsoft. And then there could be high-level executives that work under Microsoft, right under Bill Gates. Then they could be considered like the Sifus, the top executives. You know, maybe, and that's how it works. You know, you have the owners, the creators of McDonald's, you know, whatever their names are, McDonald's or whatever, and then there could be a bunch of store owners and store managers or restaurant owners that are operating each chain to help promote that restaurant. Those would be likened to like the Sifus, like basically like the restaurant managers. So the owner of our restaurant is Jenny. You know, my wife Jenny, she is the owner to the creator, the founder, the owner to Jenny's Gourmet restaurant. So she's likened to be a Shisu. And that's all it is for my art, is that I'm the Shisu, I'm the founder of the art. And then I'm training people to become Sifus. Alright, so typically there's not going to be that many people that are going to be able to generate enough recognition and enough fame in order to have an art be widely known in modern times. I mean, the only person, you know, that's really well known, for example, is Bruce Lee, but he still didn't live long enough in order to fully turn Jeet Kune Do into something more established like Wing Chun Kung Fu, where it has many hundreds of years of promotion and development in order to be shared through a larger community of people. But Bruce Lee did reach out to people through his film, so in a way a lot of people have been inspired by Bruce Lee and in turn from Jeet Kune Do and his development. So it's just that it has not been established in a more systematized way as Wing Chun Kung Fu or Chole Fut Kung Fu or Shaolin or any of these other ways of where they would specifically systematize it in order to share it to a greater majority of people. But what I do see is that back then they didn't have video cameras. They didn't even have pictures. So the way that they share an art that's physical, they would have to do these memory type of forms, these forms that are memorized and mechanicalized in order to pass on that physical special knowledge in the martial art. But now, since we have videos, we got books, we got movies, we got pictures, it's really not necessary to memorize and systematize the physical movement in such mechanical ways any longer. People can very easily share and document their physical expression through videos, and it can be more spontaneous type of expression that's more realistic in order to pass on that art. And that's essentially what Bruce Lee did, is that he put his expression of the martial art onto video so that it can be shared with a much larger population than of where the typical traditional way was to not have anything on video but to only transmit that art face to face, and this limits the potential for it to reach out to a greater audience. So that is through the modern technology, how it has really changed the way martial art is shared with the public. Now, the next label that I'm going to talk about is the label called mystic. Now, mystic is a label that is mostly associated with Eastern philosophy and philosophical understanding of the martial arts. Now, mystic is like the unknown, alright, something that is beyond comprehension, something that goes beyond all labels. So a mystic is somebody who is like, who has become a Sifu, or or even a Shisu or whatever, but then drops that title, drops the label, and is unknown. So the person transcends the label. It's like kind of like Osho, who got a bunch, various PhDs certificates. He went through the whole process of getting it, and then he burned it. He burned it all and dropped it all. So that's like transcending those titles, those labels, those rankings. So in my art was designed is to take you through the whole journey to become a martial artist. And then once you become a martial artist, then once you feel that you're ready to, then you could transcend that label and drop the label and no longer claim yourself to be a martial artist, but you just transcend it. And that's kind of what a mystic is. It's kind of like a Sifu that's unidentified, and that's what it is in my art. But in typical terms, it's just basically the unknown. And people that are mystics would be like Lao Tzu, the author to the Tao Te Ching. Chang Tzu would be a mystic. Osho would be a mystic. Jesus would be a mystic. Buddha would be a mystic. A bunch of these very extremely wise individuals would be mystics. J. Krishnamurti would be like a mystic, and Bruce Lee learned a lot from J. Krishnamurti. So these are the individuals that would be like more mystics. Now, for my art, it's just basically the unknown and transcending the whole ranking to get through the whole ranking and then dropping it. So that's what the mystic represents. Now, once if you're a mystic, unknown, but then you decide to get back into that teaching realm, then you go back to that Sifu level in order to claim that title, in order to show people that you have the credibility to teach. Mystic would be likened to being enlightened. It's just something where you get to a certain level that you can't explain in words. It's something, there's something that's beyond the comprehension of the human mind. There's truth that just cannot be explained, and that's kind of what mystic would indicate. And really, getting to that mystical level is kind of also indicating a rebirth. Like you go through the whole cycle of the journey of training, and then you become reborn. So a mystic may start training in other things. Like he trains to become a martial artist, he becomes a martial arts Sifu, and then he's reborn and starts training in something else, and to become highly proficient. So he may become reborn and start training to get to a high level in breakdancing or gymnastics or just another art that has nothing to really do, that's not really associated with martial arts, but developing himself in many ways and constantly being reborn, to always have that open cup, that empty cup, that open mind to learn. So in my art, when we get through the Sifu training for the black level, then we get into what I call the mystical Kung Fu training, which is basically training in things that go beyond the violence, that go beyond the fighting, training in a high level of physical fitness, through doing things with your body that many people can't do, through your athleticism, and having a very high level understanding of the martial arts mentally, psychologically, and then also have a very high level in the spirituality. So getting to become extremely wise and have a great understanding of yourself and the society in which you live.